Hey everyone, welcome to another exciting episode of the Covers Face Off on the Scratch a Track podcast presented by the Dude and Grim Show. I am the Dude.
And I am Grim, and today we are facing off Higher Ground by Stevie Wonder and the Red Hot Chili Peppers.
Ooh, yes, we are. But we also want to send out a friendly reminder for everyone to
like, subscribe, and comment below.
That's right. So please go ahead and do that. It would mean a lot to us, wouldn't it, Grim?
It certainly would.
All right, let's get high, buddy. Want to get high?
Yeah, I'm ready.
All right, let's get high. Well, as we always do, we start with the original and the new original, not the old original, or actually the old original, not the new original. So
true.
So today we will be starting with the Stevie Wonder version of Higher Ground, which is off his 1973 album, Innervisions.
Yep. And I think it should be noted that Innervisions was from Stevie Wonder's what they would consider his classic period. So, as I understand, it would be the third one. So, you got Music of My Mind and Talking Book from 72. Innervisions from 73. The Fulfillingness' first finale, 74. And most consider that period to kind of culminate with Songs in the Key of Life, which was a double disc released in 1976. But I think it's widely regarded as like his most prolific and creative period as an artist. And it kind of kicked off with his newly negotiated contract with Motown Records, in which he was granted full creative control, which was kind of unprecedented and unheard of.
Yeah, and that's something not many artists can get away with. I think we talked about this a little on the Prince Black album, where Prince had a lot of creative control. Artists like David Bowie, I think, and Elton John, Sir Paul McCartney, artists like that of that stature. But it sounds like he was like the first one to really hone in on that and get that. It's like giving a movie director like Final Cut.
Sure, the thing is, Innervisions was his 16th studio album. 16th, like.
Dude, he's like King Gizzard and the Lizard Wizard, man.
yeah, but a soul singer. I mean, pretty much.
Yeah, that's pretty much all they have in common.
So, the album, is very highly regarded, and I believe it's one that still remains on the Rolling Stones top 500 albums of all time. And
cut that.
For the nerds out there, I think that he was one of the first artists to experiment with the ARP synthesizer, which was kind of a semi-modular unit that became the Who used the ARP a lot. And it was a very famous instrument, but he was one of the first guys who was given access and kind of started messing around with it.
Sweet.
So
that's cool.
Higher Ground, though, to get to work here. Higher Ground.
Yes.
I think it's just kind of maybe just about elevating one's state of being, like kind of in life and love, and just like being on a bit of a higher plane of existence. I like it because, at least in the studio version, he's using this clavinet with an envelope filter, and I mean, it is real funky.
Right. Yeah, I mean, he drops the funk for sure. Definitely drops the funk.
Oh yeah.
And so I think, as many listeners might be aware of, Stevie Wonder is blind, but he was blind shortly after birth. Now, he was involved in a very horrific accident while he was actually on tour that left him in a coma.
But it was after this song was recorded.
It was after this song. It was after the song was recorded. But the story has it that I believe it's I don't know if it was his manager or producer or someone
road manager
hummed it or sang it while he was like in the coma and everything.
Yeah, and he kind of put his fingers on the clavinet and.
Yeah, he started moving his fingers with the music and everything. So just kind of there is sort of a spiritual connection, and it has definitely a deeper meaning with with Stevie Wonder. So.
Oh yeah, and there is kind of a funny and ridiculous conspiracy theory out there on the internet, if you want to look it up, that would say that Stevie Wonder in fact is not blind. And I think there was some like award show or something. This is their main citation for this, is that there was some award show where like somebody had knocked down a mic stand and he like grabbed it, and they're like, well, how could he grab it if he's it's stupid and ridiculous, but it's out there nonetheless.
Well, dude, one thing that I saw, that he wrote and recorded the song in 3 hours.
Yeah.
And he played all the instruments on the song.
Bass.
Like, yeah, dude, that's pretty phenomenal. So obviously he's not, he's a very talented all around musician. And yeah, like you just said, the Moog bass. So that's pretty cool. I know you're a big fan of the Moog.
Yeah, there's a couple of them behind me here. I do like them. Yeah. So
yeah.
No, but I really like the song. It's just it's got a real nice groove to it. And if one were so inclined, you could look on YouTube, and there's a really great live performance video of this from, I think, 1974. That's certainly worth watching. Really cool.
Awesome. So after you're done watching this video, don't go to it now, but after you're done watching this video, if one of ours doesn't start playing after this one, then go search for that. Yeah. Yeah. So, but I guess, now we can maybe transition over into the Red Hot Chili Peppers version, and they're just talking a little, comparing them a little bit just initially. I mean, they're both super, super funky. Yeah. But what stands out to me, the two things is, I mean, I feel like, Chili Peppers, it's funk rock, their version, and the drums hit really, really hard in their version of it. I do like both of them a lot.
Yeah, and I noticed that once Kiedis is getting into like the verses, the guitar transitions from kind of these like funky chops to like a hard it gets a lot heavier, and that
drives more.
Yeah, and that was interesting because I know that when they were recording this album, I think this was the first album with Frusciante on it, and I know that he clashed with the producer Michael Beinhorn a lot because he wanted like this more metal sound, and that was not really Frusciante's style. But I think in this track particular, he did kind of a really good job of incorporating both of them.
Yeah, definitely. Absolutely. He did. And I think, they're clashing. I kind of read that as well. And, obviously they went in a different direction, when they recorded their next album, Blood Sugar Sex Magic. They went with our boy, Mr. Rick Rubin. But yeah, for this one, I think the record company also wanted them to have more of a commercial kind of sound, and I think they were feeling pressure from the record company, maybe the producer, to have that. So they went in a different direction for the next one. But this was actually the first single off Mother's Milk, which is their fourth studio album, released in 1989. And,
honestly, this was my first exposure to the song because I remember being a kid and watching MTV and seeing the video. And the video is very much in the parlance of our time. I mean, it's very indicative of, I think, what a video would have been at that time. It's a lot of green screen and
effect heavy.
Yeah.
And I do want to go ahead and sort of correct this, because one thing I noticed, I read on some site that this was the first single off of it, but then on the Mother's Milk wiki page, it actually says it was the second single after Knock Me Down. So so if anybody out there knows which one is first or second, I don't want to get that wrong. Please definitely let us know, because I'd be curious which one, because I think we found that with when we did Van Halen's, I believe it was a Van Halen album, they released their first single was a cover. And I find that interesting that on a new album that, somebody would put out a cover as their first single from the album.
And I like it because when they're doing the choruses, of course, there's like these big kind of gang vocals.
Sounds like a crowd
presence. And when you read the personnel, aside from Frusciante and Flea, who add background vocals, and I would assume Kiedis is in there too, they had 14 other people
Yeah.
You know,
Right.
in the wings to get that big sound. And they really did a good job of it. And I think that between that and sort of the heavy guitar bits, I do think that they made it their own, because at the end of it, they kind of go into this bit of a spoken, like Kiedis is kind of going into a spoken word part. And I like the fact
toward the
that,
end, right?
Yeah, he references Stevie Wonder twice in that like spoken word part, which I think is really cool. Because they not only made it their own with that bit, but just the fact that he kind of pays homage to Stevie Wonder. I think that's cool.
Stevie knows that nobody's going to bring me down.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Because me and Stevie C, we're going to be sailing on the funky, funky sound.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, in a very, very Kiedis way.
Yeah.
Well, I think we kind of covered both of these, my friend. Is there one that you prefer over the other? I mean, they're both great. I think it's one thing that we do talk about when we talk about the covers is, do they make it their own? Is it kind of a copy? I feel like this one's a little more of a copy. I mean, it follows the same kind of flow and tone and everything, but they put their sound and instrumentation that really sticks out to it as well.
I know. I feel like they did make it their own, because between the sort of change in instrumentation and then the spoken word part at the end, I felt like those were two instances where they did something that wasn't done with the original. And, they really gave it their shake, instead of just trying to, reboot it in the late 80s.
Yeah. Yeah. I think for me, it's not a huge dramatic difference, but there's enough differences in it where I can definitely say they weren't going for a, hey, let's, it worked for Stevie. Let's just do it again.
And like you said, you mentioned too, like the drums just crushing it. I mean, it's a big, powerful sound.
It definitely is. Definitely is. All right, my brother. So which one do we prefer?
Which one do you prefer? I think you probably got a lower score on the last hole, so that would put you on the tee.
Probably. There's a very good chance of that. I'm going to go with the Chili Peppers myself. And I guess I say that mainly because it does punch in a lot of spots. I do love the guitar sound to it, and I love the group backing vocals, the whole huge chorus backing vocals. Just it's so big and so full. Big. So that's and dude, and huge. Size matters. Just as dude law.
Yeah. Well, as much as I do like that, and I really do like what they did with it, for me, I am so addicted to how sticky and funky the clavinet is, and the fact that he ran it through that envelope filter. Like every time I hear it, it's like, it's just so nasty. Like I could not get over Stevie's version, because I'm so hooked on the sound of the clavinet.
Sweet.
I own one, and I've played it in many recordings and live, and I just wish I could play it as good as Stevie Wonder. I mean, it's such an awesome instrument. It's like a keyboard that plays electric guitar strings, basically. And it's electrified. It's just such an awesome instrument that hooks me into Stevie Wonder's version.
Electrified. All right, cool. Well, hard for me to disagree with that. Please, everyone, let us know what version you prefer down below.
Love to know.
Give us
and why.
Give us a comment. Give us a sub. Give us a like. All right, Dude and Grim Show.
Until next time.
The Covers Face Off is produced by the Dude and Grim. Additional music provided by More. That's ... MORE in the Tims, TIMNZ. Copyright 2020. The Dude and Grim Show.
About to walk through this door.